listening to the Good Bad Advice Podcast with Stephanie and Chase.
Hello. I am so excited that this will be the first episode in a couple weeks where I'm not like suppressing a cough.
Yeah.
If I do, actually, there are a bunch of people. Oh, welcome you guys to the Good Bad Advice Podcast. We're your hosts. I'm Chase.
And I'm Stephanie.
And we're so excited to give unsolicited advice to people in the news. But multiple people last week. Okay, I have a Lauren report from last week. Okay. I have to grab it actually. But how are you? I'm going to grab this really fast.
He said, I'm unprepared. Just kidding.
Thankfully, I have really gorilla arms, so I can reach things. My mom always calls them my gorilla arms.
Thankfully for your coughs, though, I did have multiple people be like, oop, I got myself a Starbucks on the way to work today because Chase couldn't stop coughing. So thankfully to you, there were some treats that were distributed due to your coughing. I hope you took the excuse, friends, to go get a treat because Chase has finally recovered from the plague. There is no longer need, although I feel like we are notorious for just coughing to the side of our mic anyway.
All the time. But also I got then like the last 24 hours after Super Bowl for all of yesterday, I had a little stomach bug.
Oof.
And I wrote Cass, my neighbor, who, God love her, because she is a nurse. She's an ER nurse. And so she'll like, do you want me to bring over IVs? Do you want me to take anything from the hospital?
Wait, she can bring over IVs?
Yes, she's offered multiple times. She's like, I'll give you a B12 shot. How can I help you? So I wrote her yesterday and said, I have this stomach thing. What do you think? And she was like, I think you need a break. Like, I think you have, you've had way too much.
Sit down.
Yes. Okay, let me get
the Lauren report.
So here's the Lauren report. She says that we can just say black person. Remember how we were saying
African American,
but what if they're British or not American?
Just black.
She goes, you could just say that they're just black people, which is great.
For Black History Month, thank you for that, Lauren.
Yes. She also said, Wish was pretty terrible. Don't mind the premise, but the music was not good. I agree with you.
Yeah,
that was good. Also, a medical note she gives. This is not medical advice, so consult your doctor. But she says, also a note for future influenza: always lie about the time frame so that you can get Tamiflu, because you only can get Tamiflu within the first 24 hours or 48 hours of having the flu. And I told the hospital, I've actually had it for several days. So they're like, well, Tamiflu's not going to make a difference. So she's just wanting our listeners to know that you can lie.
You're capable of lying to your medical professional.
Yes. She said also good work on the Schiaparelli pronunciation. Her Italian heart is so proud. And then also believes that Beyonce low-key looked like an oil tycoon and she was not mad about it.
Oh, that's the call.
That is actually a very good call, particularly for the story that we're going to have for Beyonce today.
Beyonce had the Grammys, by the way.
She has a very hot take on Toby Keith that I will not share. But Lauren, just know that we included that in the report by saying that there was a hot take.
Well, he did write very antithesis of what Lauren would appreciate. Songs.
Yes.
And we love her.
She made that.
And we love Toby.
We love both. We hold space for them. So that's our Lauren report. And happy Valentine's Day, you guys. Happy Day of Love.
Happy Love Day.
Happy that we exchanged Valentine's Day gifts with each other this morning.
We should have done the wrapping and the me pretending that
we've already talked about not opening gifts on camera because of how uncomfortable. And it's either like over the top or underwhelming or whatever. But I'm grateful that you're my friend, Valentine.
I'm grateful that you're my friend. I feel like if you have a boo in your life, like love and appreciate them, but like send love out to your friends.
Yeah, if you don't have a boo, you can focus on what you don't have, or you can celebrate what you do have, which is like your friends, your family, your kiddos. I think you could have lots of Valentines.
Yeah.
We went to dinner with friends this weekend, and we were asking about their kids, and Megan says, oh man, Bailey's friend asked if she would be her Valentine. And she was like, what does that mean? And she's like, it's like a step up to girlfriend. It's like a step to girlfriend or significant other. It's like, oh, that is kind of a cute idea of Valentine's.
Yeah.
So happy Valentine's Day.
Happy Valentine's Day. I will say happy Valentine's Day to Traven. As I mentioned last week, for his birthday, I guess I'll give him another shout out. He is literally my perfect other half. I love him so much. He's amazing. Everything I could have ever even thought up particularly in therapy when I was like, I don't know what I need because clearly what I'm doing isn't working. There were so many signs while I was dating him that I particularly recognized from therapy. So if you can't find a man, go to therapy is what
Yes, if you're having a hard time in your love life, you may need to be in therapy for a little bit beforehand.
Maybe.
Prep yourself.
But no, when Traven came, it was like, I was like, oh, this is the one. Mm-hmm. But it was a lot of based on how he treated me and how he uplifted me. And yeah, I just married my perfect person and I love him so much.
That's so good.
Happy Valentine's Day.
And I'm wishing happy Valentine's Day to Stephen. 5 years ago, if you can believe that.
How long have we been friends?
Like 7 or 8. Because it was in the old relationship land.
I'm like
whoa, this has been a long time.
flashbacks.
Not wishing that dude a happy Valentine's Day. Peace. But Stephen, it's so funny because we being set up and when Kayla set us up on a date,
yes, I forgot Kayla
told
did.
me, she was like, Kay, like, when initially the setup was just like as a friend, as like kind of navigating whatever else, and then she'd lied and told him it was a date. So we went in very different issues. On our very first date, I'll post this on the carousel. Our very first date was we went to the airport and we'd made welcome home signs and greeted people coming home from the airport. I'd made date cards.
I can't believe you got Steven to do that.
Well, what's so funny to me is that he was so nervous.
Yeah.
And I had asked him out after we'd gone to lunch. I'd said, hey, would you like to go on a date? And he was like, what was this? And I was like, this was lunch. Like, this doesn't count as a date. And he was like, this took years off of my life. It has to count for something. And so I said, well, no, let's do it. And I was his first date with a guy ever. Aww. So I had made date cards. And so I had an A, B, and C date. So he picked the A date, which was just like, I have to pick an A date. The first one, A. Yeah. So we went to LMXO, this restaurant, and then we made signs to went to the airport. And I think he was just so like stunned that he was on a date and navigating whatever that he just went along with it.
Dove in.
I just think he was like, I guess this is what we do now. But the sweetest thing when we were in the car, I reached over and held his hand, and he had to look out the window on the other side because he started crying, feeling like so emotional, like, oh my gosh, I actually like this could be something. And we've definitely had a little bit of a rocky road at times. We've navigated complexities, and so we've kind of landed in a good place. But gosh, he is goodness personified and wonderful and funny and exciting.
Like, when you talk about, we kind of talked about this last week. Like when you talk about Steven, and I have like seen the course of your relationship, it like makes me eyes watery because I just am like, to have your friend be loved in the way that you love them is like such a beautiful experience.
Agreed. That's how I feel about Traven too. Like watching how wonderful he treats you and your guys' amazing, unique friendship and love story, I think is like so great. Yeah. And you're the best stepmama, bonus mama to Bales. And so you do an amazing job. So we just want to wish our mains. Oh yes.
I got her a Valentine's basket. I posted it on my story. I'll post a picture of it on our carousel. And like, when you like gain a child in that way, you don't have the like steps up to like loving them. And every year, I loved Bailey from the beginning, but I love her more and more. And like giving her her Valentine's basket, which is something that like my mom did for me. I always knew I was going to do for my kids. And like her excitement did not take the pajamas off all weekend. Like, unless we went outside, she was like, can I wear these? I'm like, no, actually, sorry. She's like, these are my favorite pajamas I've ever had. I'd be like, parenting
wins greater than anything else. Like, that is such a good vibe.
That's and like she might hate me next weekend, but I will hold on to
that. 100%. Charlotte this weekend FaceTimed us a bunch, and it was super fun and cute and loving, and it was so great. And then I write Oliver, hey, you want to FaceTime today? And he writes, no, thanks. I was like, cool. So I said, Steven.
And that's parenting.
It's like 50%. I'm in. At least it's not a 0%. That'd be a real depressing number.
Oh my gosh. We have a couple of birthday shout outs.
Yes. I'm going to give a birthday shout out to Bryn. We love you. That's Steven's sister. She is, without question, when you think of like the animal whisperer, like that personality of someone that's so good to animals. She works in, I don't know if it's a veterinarian clinic or an animal hospital or it's a place like that. amazing. She has such an unbelievable gift. She's so wise for her age, and I just think she is one of the few people who I'm like, gosh, the world is lucky because you are in it. She's like pure that way and loving and like also really inappropriate when needs, like when the time calls for it. Her and her girlfriend, we really, really love hanging out with. And happy birthday, Bryn.
Happy birthday. It's funny because when you're talking, I was like, happy birthday, Caroline. No, Caroline is my friend from like elementary school. In elementary school, we were like almost frenemies, I think. But like we have both grown and like blossomed into a beautiful adult friendship. I love her so much. She is the one who hosts the podcast Overbooked. So if you're a book girl, go listen to her podcast. She usually reads a lot of thrillers. We did an Iron Flame and Fourth Wing episode that Chase has to listen to when he finally finishes Fourth Wing.
I know I started it again. I like picked it back up. I kind of had like that dark phase, so I'd given a break from anything really wonderful.
You can't read anything because you'll associate it with the dark phase.
100%. And I've loved it so much. So then on, I think it was Wednesday or Thursday or something of last week, Stephen was working late in the studio. And so I was like, I think I'll just like pick up the book. But my body still was just so sick and just so tired that I fell asleep with the book. Like caressing the book. I was like, so I got to get back in. But yeah, I've loved following Caroline on social.
She has good recs too.
And she has a good, just like a good aesthetic. Like I think her vibe is pretty fire. Yep. So happy birthday, Caroline. Happy birthday to everybody. Happy Love Day. And mostly happy birthday to us. And I say us. Also, I don't know how to get the dinging off. Jeez, this is going to be a whole thing.
Just turn on the volume. That's fine.
But mostly the thing that we're celebrating this week is the Super Bowl. Yep. All of our stories are from the Super Bowl today. So I think without further ado, we should get into this. But we do have to give a shout out to our sponsors. So we're very excited because we've launched a new sponsorship program here. We've actually had 2 people donate. The sponsorship program is very, very complicated. We can't get into all the fine print and the details. There's tiers. It's an MLM kind of. There's like some people called it a Ponzi scheme. Yeah. So we're really grateful though. Tara Lee Roth had previously donated. Signed up for a sponsorship. Yeah, signed up for. She was a single gold sponsor. She just Venmoed us money, and then our really longtime friend of the podcast, one of the original Good Baddies. Yep. Fevin Farrow. Schmevin Farrow. Also known as Kevin Darrow. Our favorite prankster, our favorite dad. Actually, in honor of his sponsorship, I have to tell a story, which is that he was in California this weekend. Okay. And he was in Disneyland. And I was like, send me all the pictures from Disneyland. He sent me, 50 photos of him and Molly. Oh my gosh, amazing. And honestly, every single photo got better than the next. The selfies that I got from them, I literally am going to frame them in my room. They're so cute. I was just like, you are seriously the most precious man ever. I loved it so much. So thank you to our sponsor, Kevin Darrow. And if you would like to be a sponsor, you just need to message us for our Venmo, and you Venmo us some money. And that's how sponsorships work, and that's baby. How you get a call out on our podcast. That's how you get a shout out. It's so funny. Do I have to list on YouTube that this has sponsored content? Wait, I think legally we probably should just be like, this has sponsored content. No, we're not sponsored. Oh, we're sponsored by Kevin. Yeah, we are sponsored by Kevin and Tara Lee. Thanks, guys. All right, I'll Google that or something. Okay, so we've got Super Bowl stories today. The very first one, the Chiefs. Winna chicken dinner. Now, who were you rooting for? I was rooting for the Chiefs. Yeah, okay. Because of Taylor Swift. I'm going to be honest here. Totally. But I was going to be not sad if the 49ers won. Yeah, my mom because I particularly wanted Brock Purdy to win. Given that he was, Mr. Irrelevant. Yeah, Mr. Irrelevant. And that's what they literally call him. Because when you're the last draft pick. That's not our name for them. We're not throwing shade. No, I actually kept calling him
Turdy Purdy during the Super Bowl because of another podcast I listened to.
Of course.
But I kept calling him Brock Turdy. That made a couple of people in the room a little annoyed with me.
Right.
But I thought it was a funny bit, so I ran it into the ground,
Totally,
as I always do. If I think it's funny, I will keep going.
Right. See, now my mom is a diehard Chiefs fan. She's a Patrick Mahomes stan, has been for years, has his merch, has a lot of different, knows all the history, the story, whatever. And even my mom was like, look, I'd be okay if the 49ers won because of the Brock Purdy story. She's like, obviously I'm rooting for the Chiefs. It got so dicey for her emotionally that she had to remove herself from the downstairs where all the friends and family were gathered to be able to watch it upstairs by herself on mute. And I like 2 or 3 times checked on her. She's been like, girl, you good? And she was like, this is too much for me. And I was like, whoa, you're taking this very seriously.
No, I was watching it and was kind of like, I actually hate being invested in football. This is too stressful for me. I would like to watch Traitors.
But the highest you sent me, it was the highest watched televised program of all time.
Ever. 123 million people were watching together.
Yeah, that is what's really cool. I will say those sort of things where when we drove home, Whitney, our friend Whitney, was in our car. So we were driving home and she commented because there was just so much traffic. She was like, oh my gosh, is this all just from people leaving from having gone to Super Bowl parties? And I was like, yeah, that's pretty cool. Sunday evening, having major traffic in Salt Lake City solely because everybody was out watching the game was a cool vibe. A couple of the highlights that we want to point out. One, did you see the Travis Kelce and Andy Reid, where Travis Kelce's yelling at Andy Reid?
I think the whole world has seen it.
Yes, there's a lot of people calling red flags for Taylor, saying that this gives off domestic violence husband energy, which I don't agree.
I don't agree with.
Anybody that's played sports, I played football all growing up, and then I played lacrosse. You get, when you're in it, there's so much pressure on you. And Andy Reid had said, I wasn't worried about it. He just kind of caught me off guard. Normally, he doesn't face me at all. That was kind of
my thing in the video even. Andy Reid looked so unbothered.
Right.
Even when he stumbled over, Andy Reid looked more like, I'm focusing on the game. Get out of my face. Like, the meme is so funny to me because Travis is literally right here screaming in his face, and Andy Reid is staring forward so unbothered. So I was like, I think that he had a temper tantrum, which he often does on the sidelines.
Right.
Like earlier this season, he threw down his helmet.
Christmas game. And he threw it and it almost hit a water boy.
Yeah. And then another assistant coach goes to hand him the helmet, and Andy Reid grabs the assistant coach's arms and throws it down and said he's acting like a child. Like, I think that this is something familiar to Andy Reid.
Agreed.
I think it was a tantrum. I think his behavior was childish, but as far as being like, oh, he must scream at Taylor like this, I'm like,
well, and let's also keep in mind that, and what I'm about to say is probably going to get me in trouble.
Maybe.
These are football players. Football. Yeah. They're not the most developed of our society. No. And when you're at the Super Bowl game, you're not thinking this isn't a doctor with a bedside manner who's needed to give cancer diagnosis to somebody. And you're like, gosh, they didn't handle that well. We've literally hyped these people up on steroids, on the social life, the pressure. We throw them in and then we watch them be human.
Yeah.
And it's gosh, he's really aggressive. Are you watching what's happening on the field?
Yeah.
These are people that are in their 200, 300 plus
running
pound,
at each other at full speed.
muscular as hell dudes that are just smashing into each other. And then you're thinking that when you come off the sideline, you just immediately turn it off. What is he, a sociopath?
Yeah, I think
is it a bad vibe? Yeah, for sure. Does it look great? No. But if people are going to be, first off, if Andy Reid's not bothered by it and he's just acting a kid, I deal with these jock bros in the locker room busting out the champagne, spraying each other. Like, this was not a dinner party. This wasn't like he didn't Will Smith somebody at the Oscars. He's in the middle. Like, that environment is shocking. The environment of a football game, of someone being amped up at a football game, grow up, you guys.
Yeah.
It just seems so like
Touch
we're just
grass.
looking for touch grass and we're looking for reasons to be mad at Travis Kelce.
Yeah.
To like take down the artistry or the athlete. But what I will say is that Mahomes and the guy who scored the last touchdown was on the Today Show, and they were laughing about how the receiver who made the touchdown like blacked out, and Mahomes had to be like, "We just won the Super Bowl."
Yeah.
But he'd said, they'd said, "Gosh, you had a pretty rough first half," and he said, "Yep." And then we got a super powerful pump up speech from Travis Kelce that really turned the tide.
I think Travis Kelce is a man's man.
Yeah, of course.
Like we have said here, he is corn-fed man's man.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what's coming out of Ohio.
And I'm not saying men are supposed to be aggressive. Like, don't come at us for this.
No,
I'm saying
I know.
He's at a football game. He's being paid $17 million a season to run the hell out of the game, smashing into people.
I don't know. Like, I think it doesn't help that Andy Reid is a P-Jam, precious gem of a man. And, like, that makes it a little bit difficult. But, like, in the next breath, somebody is telling me, like, oh, that's the football coach who literally, like, every photo of him, he's screaming bloody murder. Like, do you not think that Andy Reid has ever screamed in Travis Kelce's face?
Totally. Or, like, have you seen the WNBA coach, the female coach? I'm going to look her up.
Oh, the Louisiana coach?
Yes, the LSU coach, where she's, like, freaking out, screaming.
Outfits on fleek.
Yeah, like, she's in a three-piece suit and heels, and she's screaming and
like
breaking stuff, whatever. That's the environment.
Yeah.
That's like going to a WWE event and being like, I can't believe that they were being aggressive.
Yeah, no.
Like, so what? They were being mouthy? I know WWE, but or like boxing or Muay Thai or whatever. Yeah.
It was
That's
so
the
violent.
vibe. It's like, you're right. It's an aggressive contact sport. People don't just turn it off.
No,
but then,
I have this. I agree with you. I think the commentary of like, also just like the comments on posts of like all of these people who hate Taylor Swift being like, oh, wow, this is like such a bad vibe for Taylor Swift. I'm like, you don't care.
It's like, also Taylor Swift does not care. Like, someone posted a meme of an entirely sold out one of her arena shows and said Taylor Swift before she heard your comments about her, and then the exact same picture Taylor Swift after she heard your comments
across
about
the
her.
world.
Like, it does not.
Also,
her Cruel Summer song from her Lover album from what, 4-5 years ago was
still
number
is hitting
2
number
global
1,
chart.
I saw a lot of commentary of like, oh, Taylor got the ick. I'm like, Taylor is at her core an extremely dorky millennial woman.
100%.
I think that actually made her love him more.
Oh, I think she's like, hell
being,
yeah.
So cringy. Like, I think that she at her core is actually cringy and awkward. And it's all of her media training that has made her be like poised and presentable.
Yeah.
I think that she went, that's my man's.
Oh, 100%. Oh, speaking of that's my man's, did you see Ryan Reynolds posted, has anybody seen my wife? Because Blake Lively was at the Super Bowl without him.
Yes.
It's so funny.
Right before he posted that was when she was on screen dropping an F-bomb.
Oh, really?
So it was like her being like, what the, like, but oh man, did she look good.
Oh, Taylor Swift looked fire. I love Ice Spice. Did you saw this thing that was a picture of Donna Kelce on her phone, and it was like Googling what is an Ice Spice.
The Donna Kelce meme's like Usher shirtless, and it's just Donna Kelce. 100%. At my Super Bowl party, I won't say who said this. They were like, best case scenario when they show Taylor, she flashes us, and I said, best case scenario, Blake Lively flashes
100%,
us.
or like. I would much rather Blake Lively.
Yeah, I'm like, you're making the wrong girl here.
Totally. And then the other thing, a lot of footage has come out at the after party. Taylor Swift, Travis Kelce. My favorite moment, people reports that Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift dance and sing to Love Story during the Super Bowl 2024 after party. Marshmello was the DJ.
And Jason Kelce is there in a luchador mask, just being like.
And the best part about Jason Kelce is he's wearing Chiefs overalls and a weird T-shirt, totally legit, knowing he's going to be filmed. That box, did you see there was a side-by-side comparison of Kim Kardashian's box and Taylor Swift's box? And Taylor Swift's box was full of like energy and laughing at her else, and Taylor and Kim Kardashian's, they're all like in black and white tank tops without bras on. It was like, Kendall Jenner, we could see your nipples. Please. But
none
like
of
they're
them
all
have
just, they weren't doing
any
anything
association with the teams, and I just said,
they're all there just for
why
Usher.
are you there?
They were there for Usher. We know that the Kardashians love Usher,
Skims.
and so
Also just did the campaign with Usher.
Sure.
Okay, makes sense.
But she paid $1 million for that box. Taylor Swift's box was $1.5 million. And the other best thing about it, Lana Del Rey was so close to the box, just like she was so close to the Grammy.
But she was in it eventually.
Yeah, but I'm saying at first
did
she's
you know-
outside the box, and then Taylor Swift's like reaching, like, "Hi, did you want to maybe come into my $1.5 million suite?"
Did you know that Travis bought the box?
Yes, of course.
Which I was like, that's...
And people were making something about Brittany Mahomes not being in the box. Travis Kelce said, "I bought the box." Brittany had their own box.
Yeah.
But Travis was like, "This was a Swift and Kelce box."
Yeah.
Which I love so much, because people that are like, "I don't think the relationship is real. Now that he's going to go on tour with her, let's see, you know, once he sees her being a diva, blah, blah, blah." I'm like, oh, no, I think they're OTP.
No, I think we're at engagement marriage kids.
Agreed. I think
Like,
we are knocking on that door. I cannot.
These two are having
wait.
children together. Like,
I completely
I
agree.
cannot tell you enough. Whether or not they break up past then, I have no control over. But these two are having children together.
Yeah. Oh, so advice to people who are now needing something else to obsess over than the Travis Kelce, because the season's basically over. You can obsess over our podcast, the Good Bad Advice Podcast.
That is such a
as
good
people
take.
are like, "Hey, what do we talk about now?" Us. You could talk about us now.
And know that we will be talking about other things too.
Yeah, now, everyone should be grateful that we're going to move on a little bit from the Travis Taylor narrative. We don't know how much they'll stay in the press now that Super Bowl, but if you need something to focus on, we're open.
Traven said he's like, what if Travis, proposes at the end of the Super Bowl? And he said, he better not, because I will be insufferable. Like, that will become my personality for the next week. I will not stop talking about it.
Agreed. But we need
Like,
something
with
to talk
confetti
about.
raining them in at the 50-yard line.
Oh, the other thing that
Like,
was just
I would have
so
been insufferable.
sad was wrapping up the athlete portion of the Super Bowl. When they show the San Francisco 49ers players sitting on the bench as the Kansas City Chiefs confetti is just raining down on them, and they're just hanging their head with tears.
So
I have never wanted to hug someone I didn't know more.
I asked the resident bro, Joe. I was like, that was literally the most heart-wrenching thing. Like, I would sprint crying into the locker room, like me, like arms flailing. And he said, "Oh, that's intentional." And I said, "What do you mean?" He said that it's literally like culture, that like you sit out in the confetti and you feel like the
depth of the loss.
depth of the loss, so that you don't experience the loss again. And I said,
"Oh, that is some layered stuff. That
they
is
could
some
go to therapy."
stuff. I
Like,
was just gonna say that is some therapy.
I said, I would never. I would run into the locker room. Like, he just said, it's even if you lose the game, the playoff game that takes you to the Super Bowl, same thing. You'll see like
People
footage of
just
the players just sitting in the confetti, because it's like culture to be like,
what if the coach
sit in your
made them?
shame.
What if the coach was like, "Sit there. You're not
No,
able to
but that's
leave."
like the environment.
I know,
Like,
but that's
sit in your shame.
That's so messed up.
I agree. That would send me into therapy.
Yeah, same. I mean,
Like
we're
in
already going.
Vietnam
Hi, Christina.
flashbacks of just like confetti falling.
Yeah, anytime you see a confetti cannon, you just start crying. You're like,
Yeah.
"Oh, no, I don't know why this is happening."
You try and do a baby gender reveal. You're like, not confetti.
You're like, "I don't care if it's a baby, it's a loss. You'll never be free again." All right. Now we have to talk Usher. Let's first talk about all the guests he had because it was pretty packed. I mean, will.i.am, her, Alicia Keys, which did you see controversy? Alicia Keys,
she had a vocal break.
They have corrected it now on all platforms where they've re-released the Super Bowl ad. They've cleaned up her vocals. We know.
To be fair, the audio was really bad, but she cracked. Like,
oh yeah, she for sure cracked and was pitchy, and her voice has not been well taken care of, unfortunately. That's coming from Stephen, who's a vocal god. But then there was Luda, Lil Jon.
Oh, when Luda came out,
everyone's like, yeah, that for me was the highlight. Was the Luda, because now this is
Ludacris could do his own Super Bowl, honestly, with his discography.
Same with Lil Jon. And did you see T-Pain said, I'd love to do a Super Bowl, and then someone was saying that the next Super Bowl should be Nicki Minaj and Drake as a potential new like vibe.
I could use a pop Super Bowl.
I could use honestly, I could use a Lizzo. I think I just, the show, the concept, the show music, she has so many bangers. But okay, I'm going to go on my criticism of Usher because we see it very differently, but you see it your way and I see it my way, and we totally love each other for this. Some people had written saying like, oh my gosh, you and Steph are fighting over this. It's very split. I mean, it wasn't very split on our...
I thought we were like I was like, what? Like, how could we be so off on this? Yeah. But that is pretty much what the internet is saying.
We put a poll on our story too, and I was surprised that it wasn't more 50-50. I mean, more people on the poll. I mean, it was like 60-40 saying meh. But I think here's why I think it was meh. Second half was fire to me. Rollerblades, the stealing the looks from Dodgeball, the movie,
the marching band, the spelling out Usher.
Yes, like those sort of things were amazing. I rewatched a couple of the ones that I loved to make sure I stand by what I'm about to say. Okay. So the perfect example to me is Beyonce's solo, where she did it with Destiny's Child, and Shakira and J-Lo. Yeah. And Rihanna. The costuming when all uniform is so much more impactful. Yeah, that's true. The segment started and it felt, and there was the color palette was all over the place. The costumes were all over the place. It was very Vegas-y with the acrobats and then the gymnasts and that felt like such a missed opportunity for what I think everybody had been hyping of like, yeah. Boom, boom. You know,
but
like
I was
he comes
so glad he closed with that one.
Agree, but I'm just saying, when we're thinking about how you intro, how you hook the audience. No, when he started with
Caught Up, I said, Caught Up?
Yeah, and it was a weird costume, and the formations were all off because I don't think they had a stage.
The cameraman was
so
really
they couldn't have marks to make sure they were hitting their right place for formation. So the formations were messy, and it was just a little chaotic for me. I think the second half, I would have loved even more if he hadn't already lost me on the first half of it, which is why I felt underwhelmed. But I will say, very cool that her had performed during like the national anthem when she was a little girl, and then to get to be there for the Super Bowl halftime show was amazing.
Bunch of people thought it was Northwest.
1000%. So funny. A lot of people thought will.i.am was Kanye.
Kim Kardashian's daughter, oldest daughter. Which is so funny to me.
So funny. I will say, too, he yummy. I mean, whoa. He takes that shirt off.
I was like, thank you for the gyration warning.
Literally, I'm also so glad that her husband was like, let me just be clear, bro. Like, we're cool. This was just two artists. There's there's nothing weird happening.
There's so many videos of, like, her husband watching, like, recording, filming, and then being like...
Like, wait, did I just delete pictures?
All right, I'll talk about all of the things that I loved about it. Because I loved it. Where I think that he missed a lot of people is that they mentioned at the beginning, like, it's the 20th anniversary of Usher Confessions. All of those songs were from that album, from his Usher Confessions album, which is arguably not even arguably, undeniably his most famous record. But that is, most of the record is a slow R&B record.
Yes.
And so I think that's where a lot of people were lost, because like he said the mic is on. Like he was singing.
Yeah.
And you could hear that his vocals are good.
Yeah. And the
and so,
dancing.
Like, oh,
incredible.
Undeniably an amazing dancer, and has not lost any of his dance acumen. Like,
agreed.
See Justin Timberlake.
See Britney Spears.
Yeah. Which, by the way, I watched the first episode of Drag Race, and Derek Barry, who's the Britney Spears impersonator, literally is more Britney Spears than Britney Spears is now. It's freaky. It's freaky.
That's such a good take.
Anyway, because I have even stated on this podcast, that was my very first CD. I love Usher Confessions. So when every song was from that album, I was like, live. Like when he started singing Burn, which all of these songs are slow R&B songs. I was like, gotta let it burn deep down, you know it's best. I was like gyrating on the couch. I was like, yes, this is my R&B.
Usher is pregnant music. I don't care if you liked it. If you didn't like it, you were pregnant.
Yep.
At the end of it, I mean, I've been your best lay, but you will in 9 months be welcoming a new child.
Even though Alicia Keys did not sound good, she did look good.
And
those
for her
hips,
to not be wearing makeup,
yeah, no,
it
was
to
a
be
clean
naturally
face.
that beautiful is a crime. Alicia Keys, what is your secret? Please tell me it's like witchcraft and selling your soul to Satan. It's things that I've been trying for years. Here's my
I agree,
thought
though.
though.
When Ludacris came out,
I was in it. I was in the pocket.
And Ludacris is probably my favorite hip hop artist.
Oh, really?
I love Ludacris music.
My mom loves Luda too. She kept being like, "I'm a Luda girl." Yeah, yeah.
I can picture Liz. That would be me and Liz.
She's there wearing her Chiefs shirt. I got her matching merch for me, so we were in our
cute
Chiefs Abercrombie and Fitch merch.
Yes,
which is
I also liked particularly like the roller skating, the marching band. Those are all like tenets of Black culture, Black history. And so that I actually like really loved and appreciated, even though like I think discourse online is like, why is he on roller skates? I'm like, well, it is Black History
you tried
Month,
doing
you
tried doing an entire performance singing and dancing while on rollerblades.
You guys,
I think what he shows,
I trip on a ghost hole. Like I can't even walk straight. Like you think I could rollerblade and sing? Not happening.
Right. So I want us to pick who we think should be next year's Super Bowl halftime show, and we're gonna pick a couple just in the mix. Okay, one, I love the idea, honestly, of like a Spice Girls reunion or like a Backstreet Boys and Sync, like a really like old school group vibe would be cool. Mm-hmm. I also like the idea of I really do like the idea of Lizzo.
Really could do it.
Yeah.
I know. You know, I love Lizzo.
I know.
I love Lizzo. I don't necessarily think this is her market, and I think that would open her up to a lot of criticism from people who don't want to see that type of person.
I agree, but
on TV, but it would be incredible and amazing, and I would love it.
But the Super Bowl's next year's gonna be in New Orleans. And so I think if we're saying like New Orleans vibe, like for example, when it was in Miami, it was J-Lo and Shakira, that vibe. I do think Pitbull.
Who would be a New Orleans? Hasn't Pitbull done it?
I don't know if Pitbull's ever done it, but maybe as like a guest or somebody.
But wouldn't he have been Miami?
I would have thought. Remember, everyone thought that.
Look up artists from New Orleans.
I'm just gonna look it up right now.
I think I would like, especially because of all the hype that he was going to perform with Usher. I think apparently he did get asked. He just turned it down.
And he had a dressing room.
Justin
All of
Bieber.
the equipment was there, and he never showed up for rehearsals.
Yeah.
Is what Dumois is reporting.
Yeah, Justin Bieber I think would be a good one. Although like I would mostly want him to sing like his beginning discography. Gosh, I don't know.
That's what we want. We want to know
a country one.
Who do you guys suggest? Oh my gosh, Lil Wayne is from New Orleans.
I would love
Harry Connick Jr.
like a Luke Combs Super Bowl.
Oh,
Because I've said that it's like one of my funnest concerts I've ever been to. Like, I would live for
There's
a
really
Luke
not
Combs.
a ton of artists that could be, I mean, like Louis Armstrong. It's a lot of jazz, which really makes sense for New Orleans. But there are not any like really contemporary except for Harry Connick Jr. That would be
Is that
such
contemporary?
a bizarre. No, I'm just saying
Harry
that.
Connick Jr. with the grand piano in the center of the football
I
field.
can't even think of a Harry Connick Jr. song.
Only like a Christmas song.
It's like Nora Jones doing the
But
halftime
man,
show.
is he talented? Do you remember when he was a judge on American Idol and
Yes,
he realized
and now
like
that Katy Perry this morning announced she's leaving American Idol, they're going to be shopping around for a new judge.
gosh, I hope they get Kelly Clarkson.
No way. I think she's like so turned off by American Idol.
Well, she's turned off by Ryan Seacrest.
Oh yes, and someone
Because
showed
do you
me.
remember when she signed at The Voice, then American Idol came back the next season. Ryan Seacrest blacklisted her album from iHeartRadio because she wouldn't come back to American Idol and break her voice contract. So one of her greatest albums, Whole Lotta Woman, is like not even very well known, even though it's fire, amazing, all of the songs on it. I would live for a Kelly Clarkson Super Bowl halftime.
Oh my gosh, that's an excellent.
Kelly
but
Clarkson.
she needs to do next time. It's Texas.
I know, but I think it's
She
close
would
enough.
be. I actually agree with you. Kelly Clarkson is my number one pick.
She's
for
kind of in like prime
Super Bowl.
too.
Totally. She's got bangers. She's got old bangers and she's got new bangers because her new album Chemistry. Like, she's got some fire songs on there.
I'm like, that is the take I want.
I
Kelly
agree.
Clarkson.
Kelly Clarkson would be my number one too. She's also, we already know because she she had a photograph of her with a Super Bowl like puffer vest.
Yeah, no, she's
she's
saying,
in it.
I love football. I love football.
And that's one thing too. Like I feel like if an artist genuinely loves football, they are going to put on an amazing show. I don't know how Usher really feels about football. It did feel a little phoned in because I do hear, and I saw some footage comparing his Vegas residency to what he did here. A lot of a similar vibe. A lot of the
I bet they
same,
reused choreography.
I'm sure they used a bunch of that same stuff. Opposed to Kelly Clarkson would be creating something totally new for the Super Bowl.
But Kelly Clarkson also isn't a dancer, so it would just be visuals.
Yeah, which I'm kind of cool too. And Kelly Clarkson's really famous for. Oh, the other one who could do good would be Ariana Grande, because she's going to be having a new album come out this year.
Wicked will have just come out.
Wicked will have just come out. She'll be kind of like the it girl again. She's a good take too. I don't know if I want Kelly more than Ariana.
Yeah.
I'm just saying a likely who's in the machine.
Yep. No, those are good ideas.
Kelly or Rihanna. Okay. The other little news about Usher, we got to move this along. He got married.
Yeah. Oh, yes.
So he obtained a marriage license right before the Super Bowl.
I don't know if I would marry him after how he was dancing with Alicia Keys, but sure.
Yes, I would, because I'd be like, ayo.
That's me later.
So he married his longtime girlfriend, Jennifer. I'm not going to know how to pronounce this. So, Lauren, you're going to need to weigh in on this. Goicoechech. Giochia?
I have no idea.
Do you know that name?
No, I have no idea.
Goic.
Italian.
It looks Italian, but it also looks like it's missing some letters. It's missing or it has one too many letters.
I don't know. I feel like when you can't pronounce it, the harder you try, the more intentionally
Insane
racist
you sound.
it sounds.
Agreed.
Like, it doesn't matter the race. It just like you are starting to sound like you don't understand words.
Yes. Okay, now, USA Today is sharing the best Super Bowl commercials, all 50 ranked to the USA Today ad meter. So this is over 160,000 people registered to vote in the ad meter competition, which ranks the Super Bowl commercials each year. And the 2024 winner is based just on their 160 registered ad meter people. So I'm going to go through a couple of these. Obviously, there's 15 minutes. We're not going to go through them all. But the ones that I thought were pretty amazing, I loved the Jesus ones. He Gets Us. The foot washing. We talked about that before. They had quite a few there. Then let me think of another. Okay, so then number 37 was the Elf Cosmetics Judge Judy.
That was
Beauty
a funny
Judy.
one. I like that one.
With the suits, because the new series coming out. I thought that was really solid. 36, Tina Fey with her booking.com with all the different versions of herself. The T-Mobile auditions to be in the new Suits was okay, but still did better on that. Okay, so let's actually just do the top 10 according to the USA Today. Dina and Mita, the Doritos ad. Cute. Doritos always nails it to me. Yeah. They're very Super Bowl centric, so it makes sense that they're in top 10. Number 9, Can't Be Broken, Verizon, Beyonce. Oh, which we're going to save to talk about later because that should have been number 1 to us. Now, Old School Delivery, the Budweiser. Yeah. Of course, Budweiser always kind of kicks it. That's the horse. The Talkin' Like Walkin', the BMW one where everyone talks like. Yeah. Oh my gosh, walkin'. That I butchered. Sorry, everybody. Hard Knocks, the Dove Super Bowl one with the girls, the younger girls, which I thought was good. Yeah, keep her confident. The Born to Play, the NFL ad with the boy who's in some African town, but he's like throwing a football, and in his head, he's playing in the Super Bowl with a bunch of different major athletes. I thought that one was really good. Okay, number 4, Worth Remembering, the Uber Eats one with Jennifer Aniston and the Beckhams. Perfect 10, the Kia. That is the one where the girl's ice skating and then she looks up and there's someone not there. Oh, that was cute. It was really cute because it was like his grandpa, the grandpa who doesn't, whatever. I don't know why I thought it'd be really funny to be like, that's where her mom should be, but she's dead. I like said it so loud and like with authority in the thing that it kind of killed the vibe because my mom then was like, it's a really sweet ad, honey, if you didn't ruin it with your commentary. Like, most ads. Number 2, this was my number 1, but this is their number 2, the Dunk Kings. Matt Damon, Ben Affleck, J-Lo's in the studio. I thought it was just so dang funny. J-Lo handled it really well. It does kind of give Ben Affleck is this good for nothing, like petulant child, adult man who won't grow up. It was really funny. And they have a bunch of other ones now where they're like throwing the football between Tom Brady, Matt Damon, and they have a Ben whole Affleck. Like ad. That was an expensive ad, dude. I'm glad they're milking it for as much. And then the number 1, according to USA Today, was the Like a Good Neighbor. That one was pretty good. And Danny DeVito from Twins. All the back on there. Yeah, no. What was your favorite ad?
Ooh, the neighbor one was good. Obviously. It was the Beyonce ad. I said, how much did they pay her for this? Yeah. To get Beyonce in an ad, that to me, I was like, holy crap. And she was in the ad. Yeah. Like talking, like doing like multiple set scenes, like the Barbie. I was like, oh, I did.
Yeah, my only advice for people is the standard was pretty high this year. Yeah. At least on the top 10. I know that there were a lot of duds and people have strong opinions. Yeah. First off, it's so much easier to be critical of someone else's creativity than to be organically creative yourself. Yeah, so of course. Good luck, dudes.
Some of my favorite ads were the movie trailers, but I know we
have that as the last, the next story. But speaking of the ads, Beyonce announces Renaissance 2. Act 2, a country inspired album, and then dropped 2 songs as part of the Super Bowl. The way
that when she said, let's drop the music. And I went, what? What does it mean? What do you mean? What do you mean? And then was just like refreshing Spotify, refreshing her website. Like, yeah. And there is something to say about Taylor Swift in that the second she said, okay, drop the new music, there is something in Taylor Swift's camp where like the second she said drop the new music, her website would have refreshed.
Oh, yes.
And that's really something that like I just want to give Taylor her flowers on. Beyonce, there was pure panic and pandemonium for 5 minutes.
And there was a funny, Beyonce was at the Super Bowl looking
Dolly Parton.
I mean,
her hair was
very country, and then she's got her bolo tie, her little like a Prada or Cartier bolo tie. She looked
She's sitting there looking
insane.
unbothered, like she's
And
not
then
about to
someone,
break
and it
us.
had she had her phone out, and it was right after the ad had aired. They cut to her, and someone on TikTok had said, "You know, good and dang well that Beyonce's sitting there going, okay, now I'll drop
Post.
it. Click, post."
Post.
I'm obsessed with the new music. I know my mom
Texas
says I say
Hold'em.
obsessed too much. I didn't hold 'em.
Texas Hold'em. Google it right now. Pause this episode and go listen to Texas Hold'em by Beyonce. There
were
is
singing it
crack
before-
cocaine in
Yeah.
that song.
We were singing it right before the episode started. And sheesh.
I have not had a song like that in so long, where it literally is like, and play again,
100%.
and play again, and play again. If it is not my top song of the year, I will be flabbergasted.
Same. It will be my top song no matter what, because I've listened to it on repeat. And 16 Carriages too.
Yep.
Whoa.
Gorgeous.
I mean, talk about a impactful song. I am really pumped for the new music coming out this year. We already know
Beyonce,
Taylor
Swift,
Casey
Ariana
Musgraves,
Grande,
Billie Eilish, and Lady Gaga,
and Megan Thee Stallion.
and Megan Thee Stallion, and Miley Cyrus. Did you already say Miley Cyrus?
As I said in my Instagram story, it is a great year to love talented women.
Agreed.
The way that the Grammys
Will be
this year
stacked.
are going to be sickening. None of these men better release an album. I don't even want to see them there.
I do not. Justin Timberlake releasing an
Ed
album.
Sheeran,
The
be
gag
quiet.
will.
Justin
yeah,
Timberlake, be quiet.
No.
I don't want to hear you.
Justin Timberlake's already releasing an album.
The only man I want to see at the Grammys this year is Phineas with Billie Eilish. That's the only man I want to see.
No,
maybe
I
Jack
wanna see-
Antonoff.
I was just gonna say I want to see
just
all of
wanna
the
see-
supporting characters. I want to see
The
Jay-Z
men's sidekicks.
supporting Beyonce. I want to see Jack Antonoff supporting Beyonce. I want to have. I want Lady Gaga to find a guy so that he's there supporting
Bradley Cooper.
I want Bradley Cooper. One person in the audience who believes 99 people in a room.
Oh gosh.
The music that's gonna come out is stacked.
Taylor Swift and Beyonce will be fighting for my top artist of the year. I know it already.
Yeah, and I kind of love that Beyonce and Taylor Swift are both like, they want to feed this narrative and we cash in on it.
Yeah.
This like battle of the divas, who's the biggest star in the world. Like that was a lot of this past summer. That was a lot of the different tours.
No, and what they are doing is running to the bank with
Literally,
all
that's
of your
what I'm saying. They're
commentary.
like, hey girl, you want to keep, I'm going to do an album this
Yeah,
year. You want to
let's-
do an album? Yeah. Perfect. Then we will amp up each other's album by amping up our own album and creating that.
See, part of me is even like, I could easily see Beyonce going Act 2 tour next. And then
literally
just
someone had posted,
same
first I
circuit.
had to learn voguing, now I have to learn line dancing. And all the people as well that are like, I've seen a ton of people on TikTok and socials that are like taking their Renaissance albums or Renaissance costumes and adding like leather fringe and like making it country, like adding in like cow print. And I'm really, really excited about Beyonce's new album. I played Steven her 2 new songs. He was like, both of these are so innovative. They're so fresh. Someone had said, please
also
play
sounding
Stagecoach.
familiar.
Yeah. Oh,
Like,
because it's timeless. It's good writing. You know that if Adele was thinking of releasing 35 or whatever new album she's on, she's like, it'll be 36 because she holding off. Everyone else right now better just hold on.
Yeah, no. Even I wonder of just like the release times of Taylor and Beyonce. Like, is there a text thread where Taylor's like, when are you? Because I'm going to do this.
I'm going to do April 19th. And she's like, I'll do March.
Because it's the American Revolution. I have to do it on that day. Are you doing March or are you doing May?
And how do we want to announce our concerts? Like, I hope there is a Beyonce Taylor text thread
At
that
least
we
they're
will get at
publicists.
some point. No, I want it to be from both of them. Like, Slay Queen just saw you. Hey, what suite are you in? I'm in 5B. Hey, I'll run to the bathroom and come say hi to you. Okay, let's make sure there's no paps. And then they're like, have a secret meeting. I know that's fantasy land, but I would love to see their leaked text messages.
That is my fantasy
That's
land.
my Roman
That's
empire.
like if I go on my private web browser, that is what I'm Googling.
A little different for me, but yes.
Love both of them so much that I'm like, that is my dream.
Yeah.
That they are secretly best friends
Agreed.
and asking each other for advice. And
Here's the thing. I'm obsessed. I do not even care if people try saying, oh, Beyonce or Taylor Swift or, I don't care. We are winning.
Yeah.
People that appreciate good music and love dance and love vibes and artistry, we're winning right now.
Yep.
This is a good year for music. 2024, I'm excited for Gaga to see what she comes out with. It's been a minute since she's done anything. I would really also love to see what Casey Musgraves. I loved her new song.
I love Casey Musgraves.
I love Megan Thee Stallion. Actually, so I have my Quorum of the 12 Pop Stars.
Yeah.
I bumped Casey Musgraves in October's conference, and I replaced her with Megan Thee Stallion. Depending on how both of their new albums do, like I may have to bump someone else, Florence and the Machine, or someone
That's fair.
Who's kind of aging out, because I think it's just gonna be so stacked.
Yeah,
I'm so pumped for music this year.
Oh, what a great year!
And speaking of what else I'm pumped for,
it being an election
the
year.
Freaking movies.
Oh,
the movies that are honestly, if we have to deal with the election nonsense,
at least let me
and
listen to a Taylor Swift
war
album
and whatever else, at least we get new music and new movies as like an escape. Thank you, artists. Now these are all the movies that were announced with trailers. Or their trailers dropped during the Super Bowl. So the first one was Deadpool and Wolverine. Hilarious.
Yeah.
In also large part because then Ryan Reynolds and Hugh Jackman on social media, Hugh Jackman fixed it and put Wolverine and A-hole. Changed the title. So and then Ryan Reynolds says, July's a long ways away, Peanut. Try not, don't burn all your fire early, or something to that vibe. That little rivalry, that dynamic, I really love. Deadpool,
yeah.
It's one of my favorite series. Actually, that's one I could watch. Again, it's been a minute since I've watched both of those. That is a really, really funny.
I don't know if I've ever even seen the second one.
Oh, it's so inappropriate.
But it's funny.
So crass and inappropriate, but that makes it perfect. Okay, hang on, my thing.
He also posted, when he posted after the trailer, he was like, hey, has anybody seen my wife?
Yes.
And it was really funny because Blake Lively was, all over our television. And by all over our television, I mean literally 54 seconds of the entire 4-hour long
literally
game. So
everybody calm
get
your
off my
teats.
jock.
Agreed. Okay, A Quiet Place Day 1. That's with Lupita Nyong'o starring, and it's the prequel to A Quiet Place. Mm-hmm. That looked really good because it looked really intense.
Yeah.
And what I loved about, I remember, did you see The Quiet Place in the theater?
Yeah, I did.
I saw The Quiet Place in the theater. This is a true story. Next to a man who had an oxygen tank on. And so it was, and then
that
so much
been
popcorn.
So terrifying. Oh, our theater was dead silent.
Not me. I had Oxygen McGee next to me, and I was like, oh my gosh, you are killing the vibe.
Yeah, no, that movie was scary in theaters.
Yes. Now, Despicable Me 4 is announced, and I love the Minions. I was actually saying to Charlotte, on the 15th, Stanley's releasing their Chromatica black Stanleys, and you can get them custom. And so I had said to Charlotte, like, hey, if you could have one of them custom. Oh, this will be your code word, kids. Your code word will be Minions. Because Charlotte said, I think I'd want to get a Minion. And what would be cool is if all four of us got the Stanleys with a different Minion engraved. And that was like our Minion. So I think I'm going to do that for Easter for everybody. So Despicable Me was announced. Twisters. When I tell you I love the movie Twister, Helen Hunt.
I don't think I've ever seen the original.
Whoa, add that. Hang on. That needs to go into our... That needs to go into
Is Glenn Powell in the next one?
Yes.
Oh, handsome.
So, movies.
Wasn't Dennis Quaid in there too? In the original.
Yeah.
Like I know the cultural references, but I don't think I've ever seen it.
We got cows. You have to appreciate it. That's such an iconic line.
There's such cultural references.
You're like, no. That's the only one that I Chelsea, my twin sister, is obsessed with Twister. When this came on, I could just see little teeny tears forming in her eye of just like excitement tears. Aww. So this one's called Twisters. Mm-hmm. Shogun, the new series on FX, got released. Kingdom of Planet of the Apes looks really good.
Yep.
Now, in my family, we do movie marathon over Christmas break, and we've done Harry Potter, whatever else. Our very first one when I was in high school, middle school maybe, was Planet of the Apes. We watched all 6 original versions of the Planet of the Apes. So I have such a soft spot for Planet of the Apes because of watching that. So the new one looks really good. And then, of course, then there's If. The new
Imaginary
John
Friend.
Krasinski created and directed it, which is
Ryan
cool.
Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds is in it. And then Fall Guy, which actually looks really cute. That's with Emily Blunt and
Ryan Gosling.
And he's the stunt double who keeps getting whatever. And then Monkey Man. It's a film basically like a la John Wick called Monkey Man.
Yeah, I've heard it's like Slumdog Millionaire meets John Wick.
Yes. And then the number one movie trailer that was released is Wicked. When I tell you it came on and I shushed the room, including a bunch of my parents' friends who I had never met before.
Amanda and I were in our seats on the side doing a puzzle, and it came on, and we both launched out of our seats.
Oh, I was sitting next to my mom, and she was like talking, and I shushed the room like I was getting a diagnosis from a doctor on the phone.
Like you were about to win your Nobel Prize award.
I was like, shh. And my mom like looked at me, and I was like, it's Wicked. And my mom goes, cool it. And I was like, oh. So we watch it, and then I'm so bothered that everyone else is still kind of talking that I have to pull it up on my phone immediately after it and rewatch it maybe a half a dozen times.
Yes.
Okay, a couple thoughts. One, anybody who wants to be like, I can't believe Alphabet's not supposed to be black. She's green. She's green.
And
so
by
getting
the way, you're
upset
not
that
going to be
Cynthia
getting
Erivo,
upset when you hear Cynthia Erivo singing.
Yeah, first off, and then also the idea like, oh, well, it's not Adina or Kristen Chenoweth. Well, they're not going to play high school.
Also, by the way, Idina can't hit that note anymore.
No, and as much as I love Kristen Chenoweth, which I do, it would be as weird as having Ben Platt go in for whatever, Dear Evan Hansen, where you're like, why did they have to CGI make him look like a young child so that the story didn't feel weird? They would have to do so much unbelievable work on those women who are gorgeous queens. I'm not taking away from them, but they've moved past this. That's 20 plus years ago. I'm sure there will be a cameo for both of them in the movie. I'm confident there will be something that will be like a beautiful little nod. But Cynthia Erivo looks and sounds sensational.
Yep.
Ariana Grande looked amazing. Noticeably absent from the ad, SpongeBob SquarePants, which
he's not a main character.
I know, but they're distancing themselves from that storyline as much as possible. Bridgerton Hottie, whatever his name.
Ooh,
when she just goes to touch his face, I was like, oh yeah, there. The visuals, I mean, John Manchu, or the director.
No idea.
I think I may be saying it wrong. I'm sure I'll get corrected.
It also, to be clear, this is a musical. I don't want anybody surprised when they go to the theater and goes, oh, I didn't know it was a musical. This is a musical. Wicked the musical. Okay. Secondly,
John M. Chu is the director. He did like Crazy Rich Asians.
This is a part 1 and a part 2. My only beef with the trailer is that the timeline was all over the place.
Yes.
But I need y'all to know that this movie is going to end and you're not getting the full story.
And keep in mind, the movie ends just like it does in Broadway, where the last number will end on Defying Gravity. That is the last number before we go to intermission on the Wicked musical on Broadway. I didn't know if they would
end that way.
Yes.
In the movie.
My understanding is that they're following the musical for the two halves of the movie.
Yeah.
And so that means first half, we're going to get One Short Day in the Emerald City. Mm-hmm. That means we're going to get Popular. That means we're going to get Defying Gravity. I mean, the first half really is the banger half to me musically. There's a lot of reprises and whatever else. And then like For Good will be the second half. Couldn't Be Happier. But
what's the other one she sings in the first half?
The other one that I love in the first half is No One Mourns the Wicked. No
One Mourns the Wicked. What is the other one I'm thinking that she... Don't think. Do 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 do. What's that one?
I don't know. Wicked.
For her. I'm.
Oh, just that girl.
Yeah, that one.
So
that vocally, you guys, that's harder than Defying Gravity.
Good.
She goes so low, so high in that song. That song is gonna be good.
Yes, I cannot wait. There's not a movie I'm more excited for in 2024 than Wicked.
Yeah, no, 100%.
I'm so thrilled.
Are we seeing it together for the first time together?
Yeah. Yeah, but I'll have to also take Steven because he loves Wicked.
Yeah, of course.
So we'll have to get like
10 seats.
Yeah, we'll have to do like a full group. Well, that's what we'll do. We'll put together a
Wait,
group.
but that would actually be like a really, because I think it comes out on Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. Like if it was like Black Friday, booked out.
What would be so dope is if we like got 30 people and we like rented out a theater or something, and everyone just pitched in to rent out whatever the cost of the theater was. That,
or if we literally buy 30 tickets and say, if you want a ticket.
Yeah, we should give them out and do a podcast thing. If you want to come, if you've been a sponsor on the podcast in the last next year,
that kind of,
it'll be our sponsorship. Thank you. We'll rent out a theater. Wait,
I love this idea. Yeah, write it down.
Write it in our little idea
Wicked
book.
Theater.
Wicked.
Either buying 30 tickets
Movie theater.
I need you to know though, if you do go, it is going to be a spiritual experience for me. So, like, be respectful.
100%. I will probably
like, I know the good baddies would not disappoint us like that.
No.
But like, you better come correct.
Yes. Now the last little story from the Super Bowl that we do want to just touch on: Larsa Pippen and Marcus Johnson.
If you are a Traders fan and also a Real Housewives fan, this is where your Venn diagram crosses.
Yes. Because we know that they're going to be filming the reunion on March 1st, which means that Larsa and Marcus will be back together in the same room. Now,
I was honestly shocked by this because Larsa was so obsessed with him.
And he was with her. I mean, they have a podcast together, even though there's a 16-year age difference. And obviously Michael. Now, for those of you that don't know, Larsa Pippen is the ex-wife of Scottie Pippen, who was
with Michael Jordan.
Teammate of Michael Jordan, and notoriously did not get along super well.
Yep.
And then Marcus Johnson is Michael Jordan's son. And so Larsa Pippen is dating her ex-husband's rival's son.
It's very Kardashian, like incestuous.
Incestuous, agreed.
So she is dating the son of
Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm. The Michael Jordan.
So I'm not surprised by this because I think it couldn't have lasted for very long. It's a year in.
You know what? Actually, now that you say that, it was such like a quick burn that I feel like.
And they they went so close to the sun because it was everywhere.
They said podcast together.
And he's on the show, and then it's a huge part of the storyline for Real Housewives, and then they're on Traders together, and that's a huge part of the storyline. So it burned out, which I'm cool with. I'm totally happy that it was over.
She was also insufferable.
I was just going to say, she is without question one of the housewives I would happily hit in the face with like a giant water balloon filled with like some like pickle juice or sour cream.
She is quite possibly the most out of touch housewife.
Yeah.
She is constantly saying things. She has rare wins where she's like, you have to stop acting like that. And you're like, yeah, no, you're totally right. And then she acts crazy.
Yeah, 100%.
So if you ever watch Real Housewives of Miami.
I know Miami.
Which, by the way, if you want to get into Housewives, that's a great place to start.
Yeah, I agree. Real Housewives of Miami right now is my favorite franchise. Mm-hmm. But the reason why I wanted to talk about this story was because she is the queen of making things about herself.
Oh,
so when you think about what do we feed the people who are stuck at the Super Bowl with their husbands or friends or whatever else, who don't necessarily want to be there but are there for the commercials? How do you make yourself inherently like super relevant, center of attention? You not only unfollow him on social, because they didn't do an announcement until yesterday.
No.
But on the Super Bowl, she unfollowed him and then made a story that said, should your friends unfollow your ex?
With a poll. And everybody went,
huh? That to me is the most Real Housewife narcissist thing you could do.
This is my
hang
moment.
on, if everybody could just focus on me, and then cut to Marcus Jordan's unfollows her, then he posts watching the game with my friends and my dad. Are y'all watching the game or whatever else on his story? If you're going to break up with someone and you're in the public eye, I want it to be this messy.
Yep.
I want it to be this gross. I want it to be.
I watched your relationship.
The like conscious uncoupling.
You
not
brought
interested.
me into this.
Fully. You forced us and you dragged me. I was an unwilling participant.
Yeah, I had to watch your reunion party with him after he was gone for 5 days.
Yes.
So I have to know about your breakup. You did this.
And I don't even want to know about the breakup. I want to know all the mess. I want you messily brought this in.
She also just is a very messy, mean, vindictive person.
I would much rather have that as a breakup than having any sort of like conscious uncoupling.
I also cannot wait for her to, the reunion was filmed a few months ago. Real Housewives of Miami.
I think it was just filmed like a couple weeks ago.
Oh, really?
Because they just produced the looks.
I wonder if they're broken up at that reunion.
I wonder.
I wonder if she's like going to be at that reunion being like, no, Marcus and I are totally in love. Or if that was like her starting to be like, although she's so delusional, she'll probably act like they were fully in love anyway.
100%.
They were.
She's exactly who we want on TV because she's an insane person.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the end of the day.
She is insane, and that's what we want to watch.
Yes. Any other any other parts of the Super Bowl that you want to cover for our Super Bowl sized episode?
No.
I
got nothing besides like a heart full of joy and love for all of the content I'm getting of Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce.
We were not well. Cassie actually said on a story, she was like, I'm so exhausted as a millennial who loves pop culture. At the end of the Super Bowl, I am exhausted by the content. That's how I'm feeling. There's such a well. I don't even think we have fully appreciated all of the material that's going to come out of the Super Bowl or that has come out. So I'm looking forward to it. But my highlights for the Super Bowl, the Chiefs win.
Yep.
The Wicked trailer, the Beyonce album. Those are my
top three.
Three for sure.
Beyonce might be first for me because honestly, if the Chiefs didn't win, you know what? You're right. The Chiefs are at the top because if the Chiefs didn't win, I wouldn't have gotten the Chiefs Taylor content.
Agreed. And then I would have felt more disappointed. I wouldn't have been in the space to happily receive Wicked and Beyonce. It was almost just like too many good things drinking from a fire hose.
No, and as people who like my dad called me last week and was like, you know so much about podcasts or like pop culture that I didn't even realize. I'm a historian.
Yeah, no, for sure.
But like he was like, you might need to provide more context because you and Chase know so much. And like as somebody who is like not a consumer of pop culture, I am a historian of pop culture.
Right.
To me, I'm like eating it up.
Same. I mean, we have been well fed.
Yes.
This Super Bowl, well fed.
Yeah.
And that makes me very happy. I'm sure we'll be talking about more things in the weeks to come as more stuff comes out, as we process more stuff from Super Bowl.
Don't forget to catch up on Traders and watch About Time.
Yes, and we're really excited. We had a couple people reach out and take us up on the offer. If you need a little help financially to rent the movie, let us know. We've given some money away to help people, and so we keep that offer up there.
That's what our sponsor is paying for at this moment.
The sponsorship is helping to pay for these people who need just $5 to watch the movie. Watch About Time. It's excellent. Watch it today for Valentine's Day.
Good idea.
We love our Valentines. We love all you guys are all our Valentines.
Aww.
Our good baddie Valentines.
Valentines.
We'll give you the little Walmart Valentines that with a pencil because you're not allowed to have food in the schools anymore.
What?
Now it's like Oliver and Charlotte were like, we can't do like Valentine's Day with treats or candy. We have to do it with non-edible goods. So it's like an eraser or like a
truly
keychain.
What a depressing life.
Ugh, gross. I'm glad we got to have Valentine's like we actually growing up. The real
like
kind.
the real kind.
The good kind.
Where we got weird Dollar Tree suckers.
Amen. That stained your teeth and gave you cavities.
And that's why our teeth are falling out. As
True.
millennials.
All right, guys. We will talk to you next week. Have a great week.
Bye.
Bye.